What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my video. So today I want to talk to you guys about UWMC. I just want to go ahead and cover the earnings report, the earnings call, go over the potential catalysts that we're going to be having in the next coming quarter, and basically give you guys a update in terms of the company and what they plan on, how they plan on taking over the mortgage industry in the next coming years. So before we get started, I just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to ChampionVibe. So if you guys want to go follow him on Twitter, he does stream on YouTube. So if you guys want to get more of a short-term approach of things and you want to get like the charting of it, he's really good with technical analysis, could chart it for you, and he could even help you learn and teach you how to chart. This is who I learned my charting from. And if you guys want to also go ahead and follow me on my official Twitter, mmfinance247. So let's go ahead and get started. So UWMC is down about 43.5%. Now, essentially, I'm just going to go ahead and over the Q2 earnings summary, and then I'll go ahead and go over the more interesting things. So if you guys want to use the timestamps, feel free to do so. So essentially, UWMC had breaking records of $59 billion in production, which is a 90% increase compared to Q2 of 2020. Their guidance was had them at 52 million, and obviously they got 59 million. So that's a $7 billion beat. And for those of you guys that don't know, a production in terms of UWMC would be the lending amount that they've given out in terms of mortgages and lending. Their net income is $137 million, and they currently have over $1 billion in cash and cash equivalent. So these guys are very loaded in terms of money. CEO Matt Ishbia addresses how important speed, great service, being profitable with lower margin, and says that time is what kills the most deals in terms of mortgages. So when a person goes to buy a house, they have to go ahead and move in by a certain date, and they have to provide that money to the seller by a certain date, because most of the time that seller is going to be buying another house, and they have to provide the funds by a certain date. And time is extremely sensitive in terms of the contract and in terms of moving dates for clients, and therefore they really prioritize trying to get that mortgage as soon as possible. So they are averaging 18 days in terms of the closing the deal for the mortgage, while the industry average is 48 days. So these guys are killing it in terms of how long it takes for them to close out a deal. And basically just want to give an overall mortgage sentiment from the CEO. He said that the home purchases have nearly doubled from last year, and the refinances remain flat, obviously because the rates have gone up about 19 basis points. So UWMC have a net promoter score of 86.6. So if you guys don't know what a promoter score is, essentially in promoter scores basically tells you how satisfied are customers with you. So a scale goes from negative 100 to positive 100. Obviously you guys could read this. 0 to 30 means it's good, but there are still room for improvement. 30 to 70 means it's great, and then 70 to so 30 to 70 means that you have more happy customers than unhappy ones, and 70 to 100 means like it's really excellent. If you're under 0, then you really have some serious issues. So just want to go ahead and give you guys like a quick look. If you look at all the major companies, if you look at like the major companies and their net promoter scores, like you could see these net promoter scores aren't really that high. Like Samsung is 67. A lot of these are good, but they're not good enough. And then you have Costco at 79. And then you have UWMC at 86.6. So you could clearly tell they're doing really good in terms of customer satisfaction. So in terms of competitors, interest rate have gone up about 19 basis points like I mentioned. Unlike other mortgage companies, UWMC's business has actually grown even though the interest rate has gone up. So one of their main competitors is Rocket. They went from $103 billion in production down to $84 billion. So this is a huge drop. And in terms of the wholesale business for Rocket, they went from $41 billion down to $30 billion. So you guys could see here, Rocket is trading about $18. It's down 10%. So yeah, as you guys could see, they took a big hit in terms of their business. their top 3 to 4 competitors underneath UWMC or that compete with UWMC, they're all down in volume, they're all down in profits, they're down in all their numbers, except UWMC is growing at a crazy rate. And even with higher rates, they're still growing. So what the CEO said is, imagine now that the rates go back up to 3%, 3.5%, 4% in a few years. All their competitors will start losing business while UWMC will start gaining more business. The reason for that being is because they have little overhead. They have brokers that work for them, and they essentially give their wholesale business to these brokers, and they go ahead and provide them a commission for getting the deal signed. And they have little overhead, so they're able to save on these costs and transfer it over to the rates and give better rates to the clients and make sure that they're able to get the best rates possible in the market. And that's how they're growing, even though the rates are going up. So it's in their advantage for the rates to go up. While when the rates go up, you'll see a lot of stocks generally for mortgage companies will start going down. However, the CEO predicts it'll be the complete opposite for UWMC. So more and more lenders are leaving their institution offices and starting their own business, because why would you want to split a percentage with the company? So for example, you work for Rocket or you work for TD or whatever company you work for. If you have a client and you're offering them a mortgage, you're getting a commission. So the commission gets split. A percentage goes to the company that you work for, and then the percentage goes to you. But if you have your own firm, you're able to keep the full amount of profits. And they went ahead and predicted that they're going to be this is going to be the future of this is going to be the way of mortgages. It's going to be the future, and they predict that more than 1/3 of mortgages will come from mortgage brokers rather than the actual institutions themselves. Yeah, and then they do have here a huge campus of over 200 acres where they go ahead and train all these mortgage brokers and set them up with their platform, set them up with their technology, etc., to be able to provide these services to other to their own clients. And the more profitable these mortgage brokers become, the more profitable that UWMC will become, because they're the ones that are providing the money over to these brokers. So the CEO, Matt, says they pride themselves on being the #1 wholesale mortgage company in the country for 7 years straight, and they don't see this changing anytime soon. Extra info that I wanted to provide in terms of catalysts for the company. So UWMC is looking to become the first mortgage company to accept cryptocurrency as payment. So they plan on doing this by the end of Q3. So they might be able to accept BTC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. You'll be able to go ahead and take money out of your wallet and pay it to your, make a payment for your mortgage, where no other company is offering this. So they did also say that they have some game-changing technology that will change the industry forever, but they did not announce it. An analyst did try to get some more information on it, but they said that they want to save it for later. They want to save this as a catalyst, and they will announce it sometime later this year. So they had also announced and confirmed their dividend payment. So they're going to be doing a 10 cents a share in dividends. The ex-dividend date is September 10th, so make sure if you want your dividend to purchase it ahead of time. The payout will be October 6th. So as of right now, the dividend is 5.47%, and I believe Rocket doesn't even pay a dividend as of right now. So in terms of share buybacks, so if you guys don't know what a share buyback is, for the new people that are into the stock market, share buyback is when a company goes ahead and buys their own stock back. So why would a company do this? Let's say a company believes their stock is very undervalued. An example, in a situation like United Wholesale Mortgage, they have $1 billion just sitting in cash that they're probably not going to be using. So why leave your money sit in cash when you could buy back your own stocks? And if you believe that the company is worth $14 a share and it's currently trading at $7, why not invest $500,000 and double up your money, and then you'll have $1 billion from that $500 million that you invested. So they have been doing share buybacks for UWMC because they believe it is very undervalued. They got authorization to do this, and they were able to purchase 800,000 shares in Q2, and they've purchased over 2 million shares this year alone. The CEO says he wants to keep purchasing more shares, but they have some issues in terms of purchasing shares because it may not always be in the investors' interest for them to buy out the whole float. So for the new people, a float is basically the amount of shares available for purchase. So the lower the float is, the easier it is to manipulate. So let's say you have $1 million. If you have a low float and you buy $1 million of shares, the stock price may go up $1 or $2, or depending on the stock price and depending on the float, etc. Whereas if you have that same $1 million and you try to buy Apple, the float is so big that if you buy $1 million, it might only move up, 10, 20 cents as an example. Not actual numbers, but I'm just giving you an example so you can understand. So they don't want to have a low float if UWMC purchases almost all the shares, because now it's going to be more easily manipulative, and they don't want to go ahead and have this stock, spike up and spike down and spike up. They want it to be a little bit more consistent, but at the same time they want to be able to profit as much as they can from their really cheap and undervalued stock. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the summary in terms of UWMC and the call and the catalysts that are coming up. In terms of price targets, their price target right now from the analyst are $8.81. This is just an average price target. Morgan Stanley gave a rating of $7.50. Jefferies gave a rating of $7 before the earnings call, and all the other analysts still have to go ahead and give a new update in terms of the price. So this can change, and obviously this could also affect the stock price, because if you do have an upgrade, then the stock price would most likely move along with it, and that's possibly one of the reasons why I believe that this stock is undervalued, because of the buybacks, the growth of the company, and how they're completely the opposite of all their competitors, and how all their competitors are going down while they're going up. But this is obviously more of a longer term, because in the short term, the market does not care what I think. They don't care if the stock is undervalued or not. It all comes down to volume, and it all comes down to buyers. If there's not enough buyers, the stock price is not going to move. And that's exactly what's been happening. There hasn't been enough buyers to bring up the price. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you guys want a technical analysis or a chart of the stock, go ahead and check out ChampionVibe, join his Discord, and he could go ahead and chart it for you, and tell him I sent you. Easy, and peace out.